Hola, aquí Margaret ya with a new video. Welcome back to Explaining La Más Draga 3. We're on episode 4, and you know, this is a show where I explain the Mexican drag competition, La Más Draga, for everyone who doesn't speak Spanish, who doesn't understand it. Don't worry, I'm gonna explain it all, so get comfortable because this was quite an episode. Okay, so we first start with another fight. They are starting to like doing these fights in the beginning of the episode, and I'm kind of living. I didn't love this one because it was towards Hunty B. Like they talk about how when she won the lip sync the last episode, she was kind of rude to Stupid Drag, the one that went home. So it was kind of like weird because nobody knew if the thing actually happened, and it was kind of weird. I don't know. It was kind of a weird drama between Madison and Hunty and Stupid. Yeah, it was kind of. You can tell Madison is there to do television at whatever cost. And then Jenny Carmona enters the workroom and talk about the runway of this week, that is La Más Chespirito. You may ask yourself, who the fuck is Chespirito? Well, Chespirito is like a very famous comedian in the very mainstream media in Mexico, and actually in Latin America. Like all of their shows are like really big. El Chapulín Colorado, Chavo del Ocho, and everyone in Latin America knows about these shows because they're so iconic. And every Mexican knows about Chespirito. He has lost weight. And the thing is, like, these shows were involved in a lot of drama because the shows of Chespirito are about Mexican lifestyle, but the most famous show of Chespirito is El Chavo del Ocho, that is basically about poor people. It's very famous, it was very famous, but as of now, we know it was very problematic actually, because it was very classist, it was almost racist, fatphobic, it was just a mess. Almost, there's an episode where El Chavo, the main character, is homophobic. It's very messy, it's misogynistic. Let's just say that, to me, making an episode as a tribute to someone who portrayed very bad things about Mexico, it's not the best idea. I get that Chespirito is very iconic, but I don't know. It's not my show. Anyway, the runway for this week was Chespirito and like the world of Chespirito. They have a lot of characters, like plenty. The most famous is El Chavo del Ocho and the Chapulín Colorado. El Chavo del Ocho is a poor kid who lives in the barrio and doesn't have a home. He lives in a barrel. And Chapulín Colorado is like a parody of a very bad superhero. But anyway. Then Pepe Teo enters the workroom to introduce a new mini challenge where they have to do instant drag, quick drag. And they introduce another person of Impulse Mexico, and they talk about HIV and PrEP and knowing your status, blah blah. I think it's so good of La Más Draga talking about these topics in a very big TV show, because and not only like LGBT people see the shows, the parents of the kids see the shows, like straight people, like it's so important to bring this conversation to table in this very big program, and I love that La Más Draga does that. The mini challenge was in pairs. They had to like little sketches where they talk about different things around HIV. They talk about like PrEP, knowing your status, the use of crystal, the stigmas of HIV, and it was just very informative, and I love that, and thank you La Más Draga for doing this. The winners of this challenge is Regina, Raga, and Ibiza Liosa, and they went extra points for the main runway. Please remember this part because it's very important. And they cut to the scenes where the girls are getting ready. They start talking about HIV, like who knows their status, like blah blah. And then they start talking about a very big theme again, that is their families, that they are like LGBT, they're open about being drag queens, blah blah blah. Some girls don't have the support of the parents, some girls do, and it's it's so good to see this conversation again on this program because they talk about like el machismo and the manhood of their parents, because we're in Mexico and we live in a very misogynistic country, and that translates a lot to LGBT kids. Seeing this and seeing how successful and happy and amazing these people are, even though they didn't have like a very good childhood, it's so important, so inspiring. Again, thank you, La Más Draga, for bringing these themes to the table. And then we go to the runway. You know, Carla Diaz enters the runway and introduces Yari, Johnny, and Letal, and this, I'm not gonna say special guest, I'm just gonna say guest of this episode, Apio. Okay, so this man is part of a band, Kava. It was very, very big in the 90s and it was very iconic, and they had like LGBT members, blah blah blah. So this is like the least important member of the band, but they brought them there because they're friends of Carla Diaz and whatever. He's just a singer of a popular band. So let's go to the runway, and for this week we have a very special guest, a Mexicana that knows a lot about drag. Let's go to Margaret from the past. Okay, so I have a very, very, very special guest. The winner of the first season of Boulet Brothers Dragula, the Mexican queen, Vander Van
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. It's kind of weird because we always speak in Spanish.
Yeah, this is I think our first time talking in English.
Yes, actually. So we're gonna talk about the looks of the fourth episode of La Más Draga 3. Have you been watching La Más Draga?
Okay, so I actually love La Más Draga, and I've not had time to catch up on the episodes. So when you asked me to do this, I was like, okay, I'll do it, but I'm only gonna look at the runways. I'm not gonna look at anyone else. I'm not gonna like hear the judging. I'm not gonna see who goes home or anything. I've been avoiding spoilers, but I think that's kind of good because I'm going into this without any knowledge of what they've done before or what they're doing after, and I have no knowledge of what the other judges said. So my critiques have not been like contaminated by anyone else's opinion.
Right, yeah, and you're lucky you haven't seen the judging because it's been kind of, you know.
Okay, I've been seeing some people posting about the judging not quite being there this season. Do you feel that way about it?
It's been weird. It is what it is.
It is what it is. I know exactly what you mean.
I know. So, well, let's start with the looks. The first one is Hunty B, and she did Dr. Chapatin and Chapulín Colorado.
Yes. So, my first impression was that the bow. First of all, I really like that she made the scarf into sort of a bow. I thought that was a really fun way of sort of feminizing the look, because it is it's like a trench coat with a scarf. You know, it's not a very like pretty look per se. So I really like that. I just thought it was a little too big. It was so big that it covered the lapel and the buttons on the coat, on the trench coat. So it actually looked like she had a smock underneath instead. So I felt like she ended up hiding a lot of her look with how big this bow is. And I'm like, I'm not opposed to bows. Like, I'm wearing a big ass bow right now. But that one was like kind of covering her look. But that said, once everything actually came off, one thing I loved was that she had great physical comedy. And I know we're here to judge the looks, but I think oftentimes the way
we can talk about like the runway too, because you know.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I always feel like the way you move your body, the way you perform, can make or break an outfit. Sometimes someone in a gorgeous outfit doesn't know how to walk, and then it doesn't work. And then someone with like a meh outfit does a great job of walking, and they sell it to you, and like you buy it. And for me, her like physical comedy was really interesting. The way she took the things off, when she took the mustache, she did this gesture like it really hurt, and that for me really sold it. And then the look that was actually underneath, I thought was simple but clean. I like simple clothes. I don't mind simple looks as long as they're like clean, and I felt like the lines, the hems, the fit, everything about what was underneath was very clean, so I liked it. And for me, the takeaway for her was the comedy.
Yes, it's funny you say that because she's like the first time doing that kind of like comedy aspect into the runway, because she always like walked there and just looked pretty. pretty. So I actually really like the way she sold the garment from all the other, spoiler alert, a lot of Chapulín Colorados. This one was my favorite because she kind of like brought a new silhouette to it, you know, like the way she interpreted like the wig and the little things. It was too smart for me, and I actually really liked it.
I agree, yeah. I feel like, I guess, since we're already jumping into the first Chapulín Colorado and there's many of them, I do kind of wish maybe some of the contestants had reached further into other characters. Because for me, like if I was in a competition and I was told the theme is Chespirito, the first thing I would do is not do Chapulín Colorado, because I know for a fact 10 other bitches are gonna show up with Chapulín Colorado. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the same. It was kind of weird that it was like too much Chapulines. And talking about Chapulín Colorado, the next one is Rudy Reyes, the ballerina.
So, do you want to go first?
I just want to point out like that she did all the runway on her points, and she was like criticized a lot. They said the dancing wasn't good. What do you thought?
So I thought the actual costume, starting with just the look, I thought it was a really beautiful costume. I sometimes can be very particular about how things are stoned or what fabrics are sequined, because I feel it's sort of like a natural instinct for drag queens to go for stones, go for sequins, go for sparkly. But I thought here it actually looked really well. The fit of the costume itself was great. The tutu, which I believe they're called pancake tutus, I forget the exact name. They're
Pancake
yeah,
tutus.
I think they're called pancake tutus. They're not actually that easy to find. Like, you have to special order them. You can't just go to a costume shop and making them.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, there's like a very technical process to how you layer the tulle and with what thicknesses the tulle are laid in. So to see someone do a ballerina look and wear a very professional looking tutu, I thought was really great. It really solidified the look for me. I thought the dancing was good. And here's the thing, I do point as well as part of my performance. I have some dance background, but not a lot. So I definitely don't have enough dance training to properly do ballet on point, but I've been trained enough that I can go on point, and I perform on point sometimes. I thought the dancing was actually fine. Like, you don't need to be like prima ballerina to wear point shoes on stage. My one critique is, and it actually doesn't have to do with the dancing, it's more of a technical thing. I get the vibe that she's not a dancer because her shoes weren't really broken in. Some dancers break them in, some dancers don't, but the final, I guess, desired result is that you have a nice arch to your foot.
Yes.
And aside from looking really beautiful, there's also purpose to it. When your foot is arched, a lot of the weight goes towards the front and on the bottom part of the shoe forward, so your weight is kind of thrown forward and it's not on your toes. Because her shoes were so flat when she was on point, all of that weight is going to her toes, and it makes it a lot more painful, and it also doesn't look as flattering because the shoes just look kind of clunky. So like my one critique for her was that I wish the shank of her point shoes had just been like broken in a little bit, so she had that arch. That aside, I thought it was a really cool look. I liked it. I thought it was really beautiful, and it was nice to see someone do a ballet look in a pancake tutu, which isn't really something I see very often. I think the only other person I've ever seen wear a tutu like that is Valentina. I don't think I've ever seen another drag queen.
Yeah.
And maybe Brooklyn Heights. I think those are the only two queens I've seen wear that style of tutu. So like, I really appreciated that. Sorry, that was a lot.
No, it's perfect. Actually, that's how you talk as a professional. One thing that La Más Draga does, they ask to like combine their like the drag characters, the drag persona into the theme. And I really like that she did this ballerina look because it talked a lot about how like what she does, that she's a dancer. I think it was a very like smart interpretation of it because we did saw a lot of this kind of the same silhouette, and this was like a standout between all of the other.
Yeah,
Chapulines.
for sure. I agree.
The next one is Ibiza Liosa as La Bruja del 71.
Does that character by chance go by another name? Oh, for a second,
Maybe.
I thought it was Doña Clotilde.
Ah, sí. I forgot, yeah. It's the same one, yeah.
Okay, I remember her as Doña Clotilde. I don't remember her as the other name.
Yeah, the kids said that she was a witch.
Oh, okay.
And they were like scared of her. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't understand who she was supposed to be at first. I was actually really confused. And I was like trying to get it, and then her male like model / assistant came on, and he had the hat, and I was like, oh, she's Doña Clotilde. I get it. The reason I didn't understand it, I had to go and Google because I was like, what was missing? What was wrong that like it didn't connect for me? And it's because when I pulled up references of the character, I found that because the show is so old and it was done on film and it was televised, it obviously goes through a lot of like different color corrections, and there are some variations of the TV version where it looks as if her costume is lilac or like lavender, but if you actually look at most of the other references and photographs, it's blue. It's like very blue. So I remember her being blue. So when she came out in lavender, I couldn't connect it because her outfit, her gown, is very different from the original character's gown. So I felt like the one thing that could really connect them was the color, you know, and it wasn't really there. So that was something I wish had been different. I wish the look had been blue instead.
Yes, I think the same. It was, I don't know why it was lilac, because it's very iconic that it was blue, like this very specific kind of blue. So I don't think it was like a smart idea to change it to another color.
Yeah, it really wasn't. I felt like the only thing about her costume that kind of referenced the character that had nothing to do with the color was the sort of like tulle sort of headpiece thing that she had that was kind of similar to the hat, but even that looked very different. I don't think it was a bad look. I thought the dress was beautiful. I thought the straps and like the bits that were hanging were beautiful. It just didn't really nail the challenge for me.
Yeah, I actually don't love the look as a whole. I do think the dress is pretty, but like the headpiece is very confusing. It looks almost very unfinished, I think. And the way she sold the like the story of the witch that is in love with Don Ramon and, you know, tries to do té de calzón, that is like a very Mexican brujeria thing. I think that was actually really smart, but as the look itself, I think is I don't see it for like the main runway.
Yeah,
you know.
I agree.
So the next one is Madison Basri again as Dr. Chapatin and Chapulín Colorado.
Otra.
The same otra. Okay. And the exact same reveal.
It kind of makes sense, you know, if you're gonna do that character, you're gonna reveal into Chapulín, I think. Okay, so I actually loved her actual trench coat. I thought, again, it was a really nice way of sort of feminizing the character for someone who is a queen who like wears queen-like clothing. To take the trench coat and give it almost like a circle skirt and make it like fitted was really pretty. This for me is an example of where I don't like the stoning, because she had stones on the trench coat and that costume is just so drab. It's like a khaki trench coat with a red knit scarf. Like it's such a sort of like tragic costume for a drag queen that I feel like if you're gonna wear that and then reveal into Chapulín Colorado, for me, I don't know, for me it just kind of makes sense to wear it as drab as possible. Maybe a nice silhouette, but just drab and boring. Right. And then reveal to like the colorful red, yellow, stone, sequins, whatever you want to do with Chapulín Colorado. So for me it was kind of strange because there wasn't a stoning anywhere else either, like on the scarf or anything. Not that I could see or that I remember. I just remember there was a trench coat and it was really pretty, and there were just stones on it, which I thought it just looked really strange because it's a khaki trench coat with stones. That said, the actual trench itself I thought was really beautiful. Oh yeah, so the reveal was really well fit. That's the first thing I noticed, was that the actual bodysuit that she had was really well fit, and it looked like it was custom made because the swirls on it kind of matched. It didn't look like it was just a sequin fabric and they just attached the sleeve in a sequin fabric, and like, you know, it looked like they made the suit first and then they did all the swirl with the stoning and the sequins. So I thought it looked really nice. It looked like a professionally made costume, and it was a nice reveal. It fit really well.
Yes, it was very well constructed. Like that kind of like silhouettes and construction of the patterns are very hard to do, and it was really well done. I don't know. I don't know why I have like an issue with this look. I just don't like it.
I'm with you. I like pieces of it, but then there are just these little details that for me took me out of it.
It's not because like it's not my kind of drag. It just like it lacked something. It looked like kind of weird to me.
It was a nice reveal.
I still prefer the first one compared to this one.
Yes, I agree.
It's a safe looking.
It's hard to like fall in love with them when there's so many of them, you know?
Yes. The next one is Memo Reiri, and Memo Reiri is a drag king.
And they did Chavo del Ocho, right?
El Chavo del Ocho, yeah. The first Chavo.
So for me, I thought it was a really cool reinterpretation. I do think it could have been taken a little bit further, but I loved that the hat became this long cape and that it had slits for like the arms to go through. And when it comes, I'm like very picky about capes because I know a lot of queens, or I should say a lot of drag artists, will take like a square piece of fabric and wear it as a cape. And I like, if you're gonna wear a cape, like I love a cape that has a lot of give to it and like a lot of flow, something that a villain would wear that you could like, you know, like swoop into. And this was one of those capes. Yeah, like it was one of those capes that just like it flared out at the bottom and it was a ton of fabric and the tartan was really nice and like I really loved it because it was drama. Like it was drag king drama. That said, the look that was underneath the cape kind of looked like your standard like Chavo del Ocho costume. And not that there's anything bad with that, but again, I feel like if you're gonna do these characters and you're gonna make them drag, like, and you're gonna wear a cape like that, like make them drag, you know. I liked it. It left me wanting a little bit more. Like I just wanted to see like a little more drama in what was underneath.
I think it was really funny, like to make a glamorous, almost very fashionable interpretation of these characters.
Yeah,
a lot of performers did that, and I think it's very interesting, like because the characters of the show portrayed like poorness, you know. So taking these like very poor characters and making them fashionable, I think is very kitsch. Like it's almost like very campy.
It is very camp, yeah.
In this case, I agree. I love the cape. The look itself is kind of like simple, and I don't think Memo really sold it that well. Like I think he needs a lot of confidence, like on the runway.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head in sort of specifying the fact that these characters are a sort of they're kind of poor, you know, and it shows in their clothing. So to sort of glamorize them itself is very sort of campy. So you're right. When you take a Chavo del Ocho look and you give Chavo del Ocho that kind of cape, it's so kind of opulent that I think what was underneath was lacking that same level of opulence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. The next one is Abies Who as El Chavo del Ocho. Again, a very fashion-forward Chavo del Ocho.
I thought the entrance was amazing. I could see where it was going and I was like ready. I was like, yes, like give it to me. Like I could see that the barrel was going to like fall apart and reveal to the look. And I was like, I was so ready and I was like waiting for that moment. And then it happened and I was just like, ooh, like I can see all the duct tape on the inside of the barrel. A part of it came undone, but another part didn't.
Yeah.
And then they were kind of having to like tear it apart to get it off of them. So I think it was a great idea. I think it started out great. The actual execution, unfortunately, like just didn't pan out. And like all I could look at was the duct tape that was on the inside of the barrel.
Yeah.
That aside, again, I thought it was a cool idea, just not a great reveal, like execution of the reveal. Oh yeah, and honestly, it's a little bit of a shame because this was actually one of my favorite outfits. I thought the outfit that was underneath the barrel was so beautiful. It was so fashionable.
Yeah.
It was such a clear, I could tell right away who the character was, but the outfit itself was not obviously referential of the character. In something like Beetlejuice the musical, where they take the costumes from the film and they reinterpret them for the musical, and they look very different in the musical, but you can clearly tell who the characters are. That's what I felt this was. I was like, ooh, like this is like a very different reinterpretation that still holds the energy of the original concept. There was a really cool reference to Alexander McQueen, his Horn of Plenty collection, in the hat, that like kind of domed hat with the fur inside it. So there were a lot of really cool fashion references. The look was beautiful. I honestly wish the barrel just had not happened.
You're right. Yeah, Avias has the thing that they're very smart and they deconstruct the challenges very well done. The execution itself in the outfit is amazing because they are designers and they know what they're doing. But the way they do it on the runway, they don't really sell it. When they fucked up, you can tell in their faces like they're not having a good time. And that's as someone who's watching, it's kind of like almost uncomfortable to see it.
And it's such a missed opportunity to perform because Chavo del Ocho is a character who constantly fucks up. Like, that's his thing, right? Like, sin querer queriendo. Like, he's a character that always fucks up. So if you're playing the character on stage and you fuck up for real, you can really play that up and be like, ooh, like I fucked up, you know, like you can really like act into it because it lends itself to the character. So thank you for pointing out that, yeah, they did look kind of scared when they could have really embraced that moment, and it would have, I think, amplified the fact that you fucked up, but you saved it really well. Like, this is the character to do that with.
Yeah, they're so in so much pressure that they don't like see what they can do in the moment, you know. And I think it's a good advice, like, because she fucks up a lot, so she can she can take that as an advantage, and you know, like make her gimmick or like her running gag. The next one is Winter.
See if I can flip a page with gloves on. There we go.
Winter as El Chapulín Colorado with a very campy scene. What do you think?
I loved the theatricality of both the outfit and the performance. I thought like the huge bell bottoms, the like big like sort of balls that were like hair ties for the ponytails, the pigtails, the like strangely cut cape where it was, I think it was like longer at the sides than in the middle, or backwards. It was longer in the middle and the sides. It was just like proportioned, kind of strange, but in a really great way. It was so caricaturesque, and then the actual performance was so like almost like lucha libre, like breaking furniture on each other and things like that.
Yeah.
I felt like they sold me exactly the story that the outfit was telling me, and I really loved it. And the outfit itself was I think looked really well constructed and really clean. It wasn't like grandiose in terms of like fashion or like anything like that, but it was like a stage costume. Like, it was a proper like theatrical stage costume. So I really liked it.
It did look like a luchador outfit.
Yeah, like I have a sweet spot for very theatrical, like larger than life outfits. So this was like I was living.
To me, like, the scene was perfect because that's how the show was. It was like very campy and almost like unpolished, almost with, you know, with like the furniture that you can tell it's obviously very fake. I really don't mind the outfit itself. I'm not gonna say anything bad about it because it's really well constructed and it's really well done, but it was like, I don't know, it didn't like really talk to me a lot. I didn't like the hair, but the way she sold it, it was like on point.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah.
I loved the outfit, but say like for someone who didn't love it, I or say who wasn't like as in love with it as you were, I think it's definitely a testament to how a performance can save a look.
Yeah, totally, 100%. Yeah, and I think it's very important in this show. Like, you have to be prepared to like kind of sold it in a way that the judges and the audience really get the idea that you want to do.
Yeah, totally.
And the next one is Regina Bronx.
Regina Bronx. Okay. Okay, so I've mentioned I like simple looks, but they have to be clean for me. And I shouldn't say they have to, but like when I can tell a queen or a performer is aiming for a sort of polished look and it's not quite there, you can kind of tell when people are aiming for that and they don't really get there. That was the vibe that I got from this. I got the vibe that she intended it for it to be sort of simple but very clean and very like fashionable, but it didn't quite get there for me because there were details about the costume that just didn't look great. Like, the first thing I noticed was that the letters that were on their chest they looked like they had just been drawn out on fabric and then like cut out, where I think they should have either been drawn out very carefully or they should have been traced and then cut out or something. But it just looked like they were free-handed and then stamped on, you know? So it's not that I didn't like the look conceptually. Conceptually, I liked it. But the execution just wasn't there for me. And that being said, I think it was also maybe not the best choice to make a simple look out of this character, because it is possibly the most iconic character of the person who the challenge is based around. So if you're gonna do the most famous character of Chespirito for this challenge, it better look really, really, really incredible, because guaranteed you will not be the only person in that look.
Yeah, I totally agree. This is like a look that you will wear to the club to perform like one number. It's definitely not like for a main runway. And I agree like with everything you said. Like it wasn't really well constructed. Yeah, I cannot say anything more because I think you said everything perfectly.
There was one thing I did really like, and it was like the cape wings that she had. I really liked that. I thought the shape of that was really great, and I love the way it moved. They were kind of floppy, and I liked that. It's very like of the character to have this like floppy costume piece slapping behind him. But yeah, that was like one of my takeaways.
It's not a bad look itself. It's just not fitting for the show. The next one is Luna Lasman as La Chilindarina.
Oh my god, okay. Are we ready? Okay. This was possibly my favorite outfit. I don't know if to say it was my favorite, but it was possibly one of my favorites. I thought it was a really, really spot on reinterpretation of a very classic character. I love that she made her dress super flowy and that her bloomers were sort of showing underneath, and there were these like really cute, like long, like little girl bloomers. I thought the choice of fabrics was really great, you know, because she had a flowy fabric and then she had some heavier fabrics for on top that were like sequin and stuff. So it was like a healthy balance between really sort of glamorous drag queen fabrics and more like stage or character fabrics. And my favorite part about this, because here's the thing, my favorite part about Chilindarina's outfit, the part that like I always noticed when I was a kid, that like the first thing I think of when I think of Chilindarina's outfit is the fact that she's wearing a cardigan, but it's like twisted up in the back. She's a little girl, she doesn't know how to dress herself, so her cardigan's always twisted and fucked up. And the fact that she took the twist in the cardigan and reinterpreted it as a bow, I thought was so fucking smart. I thought that was like such a cool design detail, and that was my favorite part of the outfit. And that's the other thing, oftentimes drag artists will make outfits so that the front is everything, but then they turn around and there's like nothing there. And I love that, like when she turned around I was like, oh my god, like that's the twisted fucked up cardigan, but it's a bow and it's in sequins, and it like the outfit looks, I would almost dare say, even more beautiful from the back than it does from the front. So I loved this look.
I love it too. I agree with everything you said. Like the way she took elements of the outfit and made it more like fashionable and more like deconstructed. It was so smart and so beautiful. I also love the way she sold it, because she was like first very glamorous, very flowy, and then she did like Chilindarina itself, where she was like crying and being a brat and being very campy. I have to say this is my favorite look too, because it's so well done. And it's funny, like a little bit of context, Luna has done La Chilindarina before, and it's sort of like an inside joke between like the friends, like because we always ask her to do the Chilindarina crying.
Oh my god.
So seeing this on the runways was like perfect. Like to me it was a moment in drag history. So yeah, I love it. I loved it. She killed it.
And
talking about La Chilindarina again, we have Miss Draga Diamante.
Yes. So I thought the outfit itself fit very well. It looked like it was made for them. The character's very clear, you know, like the color palette is there. The sort of color blocking that the Chilindarina kind of has was clearly there. So like right away you know who she's supposed to be. It wasn't my favorite because I felt that it needed some adjustments. I was mentioning earlier with Luna that one of my favorite element of Chilindarina's costume is the twisted up cardigan. And so it was interesting that she made the sleeves red to sort of reinterpret what the cardigan color was supposed to be. But in doing so, she removed the twist at the back, which when you take that cardigan away from Chilindarina, she's wearing kind of like your run-of-the-mill sort of basic little girl dress. You know, it's like what you think of when you think of like a little girl in bloomers. So I felt like to take away the most iconic piece of that costume was not the best decision. And for me it took away a lot. The reveal was really cute. I thought the reveal was cute. I wish the outfit had all been one piece, because I noticed that when she tore it off, there was
Something
like a piece
fell
of
out.
gold fabric still on their chest, and for a moment I thought that was supposed to be there, and I thought it was really strange. And then halfway through that look, they like rip it off, and I was like, oh, okay, it was left over from the previous outfit. But I wish everything had just been one piece, so when she tore it off, it all came off at once.
Yes.
Small detail, but you know, when you're in a competition, these things really do matter. So one thing I do want to say about Draga Diamante is that bitch can pose. Like, I may have not been crazy about the reveal or the outfit underneath, but I thought she did some of the best runway and posing of any other contestant. I loved the way she moved her body. I loved the way she like posed and like brought her hands up her hips and like did all that, all the drama of it. Like she was cunty as fuck, and I love that. So what I was lacking in outfit, I was living for in the way that she moved her body.
Yeah, one thing about Miss Raga is that you can tell she's enjoying being on stage and doing the show and doing the runway. Like, you can tell she's having a good time. I really love when you can tell a drag queen is having a good time. I have to agree that like the looks itself were kind of basic, and the reveal was kind of weird. I thought actually like the gold part was part of it at first, because I think the other character has like a scarf, but you're right, like at a moment it fell off and it was like kind of weird.
Okay, so it was supposed to be there?
I'm not sure. That's the thing.
Okay.
I'm still confused because it was there, but then it fell. So
Yeah, because her Chilindarina look had like a gold ruffle.
Yes.
So that's why I thought it was left over from that. And I guess that's kind of a testament to what's going on here. The fact that we're confused about it in itself is a problem. It wasn't really clear to us what was supposed to happen.
I do have to say the mask, the way she did the beard with the mask. It was so smart. When I was watching it, I was like, wait, what happened? Like, did she paint it in that moment or what? I was like, this looks very well done, and it's a very good idea. Raga has that where she like does things like at the very last minute, but they end up being so good for the runway.
Okay, gotcha. I know many a queen who can like snap together something magical in no time, and it's really fascinating to see drag artists make shit work in like the last minutes.
Yeah, I love that. It is it's not my favorite one.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite either.
I really love Raga Diamante. Like everything she does is like perfect to me. She's just like a little baby. And last but not least, we have the dark queen of the season, the spooky one, Mr. Boo.
Okay, so I was a little bit confused about this look at first. Like, when I saw the hair, I was like, I think this is Chimoltrufia, but I'm not sure. And I hadn't thought of the character in a long time. I hadn't seen the character in a long time, so I watched the runway, and I went to look at the outfit, and I was like, oh, I get it. Chimoltrufia's outfit, like, sucks. She's wearing like a brown top and like a skirt. Like there's so little to take away from her outfit that I understand why Mr. Boo sort of took some creative liberties in reinterpreting the look, because there was just so little to work with from the beginning. I think it was very smart to do a character that it was unlikely anybody else was going to do, as was the case. She was the only person that showed up in this look. The actual look I really liked. I liked that it was more colorful. It wasn't as drab and boring. I think the part where I think this look really kind of fucked up a little bit was the fact that she didn't black out her teeth, because part of the joke of Chimoltrufia, like Chimoltrufia, like it's even in her name, is the fact that her front teeth are chipped. So if you're doing a character whose name is a joke on the fact that they have chipped teeth, and you don't have the chipped teeth, it's kind of like that's such a huge detail. Like, it's a detail, but it's a huge part of the character. And it was part of the reason I wasn't sure if it was her, because I was like, it's supposed to be her, but she has like perfect teeth. So I loved the outfit. I loved the colors that were used to sort of reinterpret the character. I like that she was cleaning up props from all the previous things. Like she picked up like the cauldron and like she was picking up like pieces of other people's runways. So it was funny that she was at the end like sweeping up. It was almost like she wasn't even supposed to be part of the competition. She was just there to clean. So that was funny. I liked that. But like the teeth kind of killed it for me because that was like the biggest giveaway for that character and it wasn't there.
Right. I actually... Okay, so I watched her explanation of the look. She wasn't supposed to just do chimoltrufa. The thing that Mista does is that she takes like the theme of the runway, does like a very conceptual idea of the challenge, transform it into like her drag persona. So she was taking this aspect of these very poor characters that Chespirito had, and she did like a reinterpretation, like it was like a new character almost. So she was just portraying the poorness that the show had. She's very conceptual. She has very crazy ideas, and I think it's kind of hard to do very conceptual looks on a competition. But
it is, yeah.
I think Mist is so smart, and the way she sells it and the way she tells the story, you sort of like don't kind of mind like the craziness of it. I really love the look. Like the silhouette was very smart, and to take all of these things that are like in the poorness of Mexicans, like la jerga and the fabric, the way she used a panty as a top. I think it was really smart, but yeah, I agree it was kind of confusing, like to know exactly what she was doing.
Yeah, I feel like it is hard to do conceptual in a competition, but I do feel like there are themes that lend themselves more. Like when a theme is open, like thinking back to my time on Dragula when it was like zombie, I was like, oh, that's so broad. Like zombie is such a broad thing.
Yes.
There's so many styles and genres of it that I felt free to do a very like conceptual sort of look that is not the typical zombie. But then say a challenge more like this where you're specifically referencing the characters of a person that really existed and characters that were on TV that we all grew up watching. Almost every day on television we would see those programs in the morning, so it's harder to do conceptual with something that's sort of burned into people's brains already.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know, I really like Mista and the way she does things, so I'm gonna give her points for that, but I agree, like you kind of have to get into the theme.
That's the tricky nature of competitions too, is that you want to be as true to yourself as you can, but at the same time
you're in a competition.
You're in a competition, and you kind of, if you want to win, you have to give a little bit, you have to give a little bit to keep going, and you kind of have to give the judges what they want. That's the unfortunate part about competitions. Like, I love competitions, but I don't hold people's drag to competitions or the standards of competition, because what you're seeing on a competition is oftentimes a drag artist's drag through the lens of what the judges want to see, so that they can win. So it's a tricky balance of like how much of it is you and how much of it is you sort of bending what you do to fit what's going to propel you to the end, to the win,
Those were all the looks of the runway, and we kind of have to pick our favorite ones and the least favorite ones. La más y la menos. Who was like your most?
Luna.
Yes.
I loved Luna's Chilindarina. It was so cute. The detail of the bow being the twist in the cardigan was great. I loved the flowiness and the bloomers. Everything about it was so cute. Head to toe. I loved it.
And la menos.
Ooh.
Or like the bottom two.
I don't want to be shady, but for me it's like las menos. Because there was a few that I was like... No shade, and it's the thing is, like, nobody looked bad. I just think some people were really overshadowed by how good some of the contestants looked.
Yeah.
Damn, that's hard. I'm like going through my notes. Who did I think? I don't want to say Aviesa had one of my favorite outfits, but one of the worst reveals, hands down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Oh god, that one's a hard one because I love the outfit. I actually really love that outfit. So let me go through.
I personally would pick Madison just because I didn't like the outfit itself.
Regina's was a little rough for me.
Regina, yeah.
Regina was a little rough.
I will choose Ibiza too, just because the color.
Oh, you're right. Oh my god. It wasn't even on my mind. Yes, Ibiza. Sorry.
Well, thank you so much for being here doing this. It was so nice to talk with you, even if it was in English.
Even if it is in English. Aunque sea en inglés. No, thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. And I have homework to do. I need to watch the rest of the episodes and catch up before the finale because I don't want it to be spoiled for me. They're on episode 4 now? Or this is episode 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
So be prepared just for the critiques. That's the only thing I'm gonna say.
Okay, thank you. I'll go in,
be very open about it.
Just like with lips pursed.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Do you want to like promote something, like some shows you're going to do, your social media, whatever you want to say?
Yeah. You can find me on all my socials at Vander Von Odd. That's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc. And you can also watch my new short format series on YouTube called The Midnight Book, where I read horror stories of yesteryear, and you can find that on YouTube or on my website. It's also subtitled, and all the stories are available as PDFs on my website for those with hearing loss. So you can still enjoy the show, and yeah, that's it for me. Thank you so much for having me.
I hope we see each other again sometime
within the next 10 or 20 years, however long this takes to end.
Yeah, right. I'll go to Los Angeles.
Please do. Oh my god, please do.
Yes.
We'll get ramen or something.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. I love you.
Love you.
And see you soon. Thank you, Vander. Thank you, Margaret from the past. I agree with everything Vander said. Thank you so much for being so on point with your critiques. I appreciate that. So, as everything, the judges goes, and let's just say this special guest, he was just plain rude. Like, he was rude. He told the girls very harsh critiques that some of them they were true, but the way they say it, it was just horrible. It was a very, 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 very bad judge, and we hate to see it. I'm not gonna say anything more because, yeah, it just makes me angry. So they do their critiques, the girls go backstage, then they go to the results, and the results of this week are Miss Radiante being the winner of this week, and the bottom two are Ibiza and Regina. But let's remember that they won the mini challenge, so they have extra points. So the bottom two actually end up being Hunty B and Regina, Las Chapulines Colorado. The lip sync goes, that is the song of Kaba, the band of this person. So it's a cute lip sync. The thing that I don't like this season of Más Draga is that the special guest decides who should stay, and they pick Regina to stay. I don't know why Hunty went home. I don't know why. I'm very confused and an off decision. But that happens on competitions. There's nothing else to do with it. But you can do something, and that is tipping your favorite queen. So go and tip Hunty B and tip the girls who did amazing and who you think it was amazing. And don't forget to tip me, because doing this show is very, 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 very hard. So your tips, I really appreciate them. Hunty B goes to the Ofrenda, to Drag Altar. Girl, we will miss you. You will always be iconic. You will always be everyone's favorite norteña doll. It was so sad to see you go. That things happen on the competition. So that was the episode of this week, La Más Chespirito. Thank you so much for seeing these reviews. I really appreciate them, and if you can tip me, and if you can comment, please put positive comments on the comment section, subscribe, and push the like button, because you have no idea how much that helps me. I'll see you next week with another chapter of La Más Draga, explaining La Más Draga. I was Margaret y ya, recuerden que valen 1000 y ya. Bye.